What's up, traders? No idea how many trades I took exactly, so we're going to go ahead and just try to figure this out together. First trade was on the two airlines. They were pretty much doing the exact same thing. Delta I liked a lot better than UAL, which is United. So as you can see, this one's pretty extended from Friday's high. Started it went a little bit higher. We ended up adding, pretty much saying that was either the top or we were going to get out there. And it ended up being the top temporarily. You can see we started covering into the pullback and it ended up going higher. So ended up taking that off. Same thing with UAL. Chart's going to look pretty much the same, except we didn't get the add because I didn't like this one as much. So we just kind of let it be, figuring if it came down towards 43, we'd look to just jump out. Made a pretty decent little flush through. Took some off, hoping that we would get the bigger move down if others like DAL and the cruise lines are moving too. CCL, they were all doing pretty much the same thing. RCL and CLH, I think, is the other one. Yeah. So they were all kind of doing the same thing. But this one I liked the least. Delta I liked the most because it had the most extension. But as you can see, it just never really pulled back. So that was the two trades on there. They're both a little bit smaller. Delta was a little bit bigger because we got the add. But obviously we were looking for the bigger move down and didn't get it out of either one. And then comes Varu. Varu. We'll scroll in a little bit here as best as we can, and we'll kind of go along with it. But I wanted to show you what it looked like as I was trading it, instead of obviously the hindsight of what it looks like now. But decent move up above those pre-market highs here. Never really liked it though. Felt very grindy. But then finally, we got a nice little pop up through here, and it went to 750. I think it went to 748. Yeah, and it just rejected. It didn't want to get the 750, and we jumped in with small size just to scalp it. And what was the size on this? Let me click it. It was just 50 shares, and then took it off. So that was that. It was a pretty small win. I think it was like literally like $7. It wasn't even anything really worth talking about. And then it kind of consolidates, and then we make a nice move. Now I'm not exactly sure why I decided to go. I'll just get the whole trade in here so you guys can see it. I don't know exactly why I went 100 shares here instead of 50, especially because at this point it had rotated. I'm thinking I was just kind of caught up in the fact that I liked the trade and I wanted to get into the trade, that I forgot the size I had taken before. And I don't know why I started it with 100 instead of 50. If I start it with 50, I don't think this turns out any different. I just lose half as much. But yeah, I just don't know why I started with 100. I don't. I honestly, I can't remember how I felt going into it. Maybe I was just looking to make a certain amount. Maybe I did the double click again, and I knew that if we got the $8 retest, knowing we still didn't really have any kind of a pullback, so maybe to me the probability of it happening was really good. But we ended up starting this at 821, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe it was at 821, so I was looking for the $8 retest, and I was like, oh, that's only $20. It's not a big deal. It could have been why. But as you can see, it goes up towards 850. We end up getting an add at 843, looking for any kind of a pullback, and we get absolutely none. So it comes up here, and I think this is where I made my biggest mistake, because it comes up, it tests this, what is this? If I can, $9, and we get an add at 890, but we only put 100 shares on. So we took 200 down here, and we only added 200 together. This should have been 200 up here, and it would have brought my average up over 850. And as you can see, well, I guess you can't really see it, but it did come down below 850, even just temporarily. And we could have gotten out some of our shares. And had we gotten out some of our shares here, I do feel that this gets played a lot differently over here. But instead, we end up adding, you can see the red arrow behind this green arrow. We end up adding when it was towards the top here, saying basically we think this is the top, and if not, we're going to have to either get out completely or cut and try to recycle those shares. So we end up recycling these shares. We added here, and then we end up taking half. We added 200 to get to 500, which did bring our average up, I believe, to like 851 or something like that. And then it goes hive day. So we cut half, which is 250. And it goes back up. We end up adding those 250 back at a pretty good price, pretty much towards the top. And then we end up doubling down here with adding 500. So we have 500 shares here. It starts to try to pull back. Our average, I think, was like 901. So I hated it when we added these shares. So I add that 500, brings our average up to like 922. And I think it didn't flash down to 913. This is after we got out. But it did come down to 925. So it pretty much bounced right off our average. And it started to go sideways. And then boom, it starts to go back up. It's a high of 957. The high was 958. And I was doing the math in my head. And at high of day, it was like right at $500. So what did we end up getting filled at? I never actually checked. This is 950. We got filled at 957 at the high, and it never went through. So somebody was sitting there soaking up all those 957 shares, because then it immediately dropped right after. And I was so pissed, so pissed. But it went to that 957. We top ticked it. But I think we ended up losing. It was like $481. And if you were on the stream today, you would know that I had changed the max loss to 500 per trade, with a total max loss on the day of 1,000. So with that max loss of 500, I knew that if it went high of day, especially every time it was going high of day, it was skipping pretty well, that I was going to get slippage, because the broker never like instantly gets you out. It pops up the box, says, we're going to stop you out. You hit your limit. And then if it keeps, if the price is still going while this is happening, you're screwed, because until it goes through its little motion of getting you out of the trade, you're going to be paying that slippage. So had I let it go high of day at 958, at 959, I'm at max loss, right? Because I had 1,000 shares. That would have been $20 more from 57. 2 cents was $20. So from 57 to 59, that would have been just 1 cent over high of day. I would have been at that $500. But if this goes high of day, the odds of that only going 1 cent are astronomically low. And you can see how it was trading pretty much all day. It would go high of day and skip 20, 30 cents. So 20, 30 cents, that's $200, $300 extra. And I wasn't about to allow that to happen. So we take that off. Obviously, it dumps right after. Hindsight's a bitch. I was pissed. I rage quit my stream. I tried to get back in on what looks like the descending triangle here. It fails almost immediately. I was saying I'm either right or I'm wrong. And so I got in, what was this, 500 shares again at 902, looking for the breakdown through 9 and for it to hold. We ended up getting out of that at 907. It did go under 9 for a bit, but it didn't fail. It was just getting soaked up and went higher. So as you can see, right after we got out, it went nuts. And as you can see, when it finally went through high of day, this thing went nuts. So I'm sitting there I should have jumped back in 500 shares with the revenge in mind. I jump in 250 on this crazy move. It was like straight up, felt a pretty clear jiggle. The halt price was right there. And so I front ran it. I get filled at 1038, 1037. And immediately this thing drops all the way down to 10. And I was pretty sad, because we were up like $120 or so. Could have just took it all right there, made a decent little chunk of it back. Instead, I take half off and try to get the other half to come back down. As you can see, it didn't. We end up taking this at break even, which sucked. I actually think we lost a couple cents on it. So that was kind of crappy. But hey, it literally it came down, sat there for like maybe 5 seconds, and then boom, right back up and went into the halt. I actually thought about trying that, but then I tried one more. It unhalts, goes sideways, still no pullback. Absolutely no pullback. Actually, it looks like it's happening right now. Like the actual, no, I thought it was like flushing, but it's not. At the halt price, we try to front run it, because when it was going up into like right here, it tried to go up. It was running into these levels and then immediately shooting down like $1. And I was like, well, if I just try to front run the halt price, if it doesn't actually halt and this thing shoots down $1, I want to take advantage of it. But at this point, I realized I'm just revenge trading it. So I went smaller size, only took 100 shares. Front ran it was at 1288, and 1282 is where I put my order, because I wanted to get filled in case it didn't get to the halt price. Fills me, goes right to the halt price and starts the halt. So I jump out. And as you can see, we get filled at 1288. It's showing the wrong thing. It's right there. That's the top order right there, 1288. So take a 6 cent loss. It's only $6. It wasn't a big deal, but I was looking to make like $100. So, and then after that, there were several times that I thought about jumping in this, especially here, but it did all this, and then it started to kind of grind a little bit, and then it started to go higher. And at this point, with all the volume it had, I'm thinking it's gonna be one of them crazy ones that goes like $20 plus, etc. But it hasn't since. It's made like this crazy long descending triangle. It keeps trying to go lower. It is attempting to make lower highs each time. But to me, I don't know. I think this thing we might see rip back up the high a day at some point today. It's just the way it feels. It doesn't feel like people are ready to let this one go. And then we did have one other trade on CYTO, two trades actually. Down here was still in revenge mode a little bit. It was a decent little move, but it was not above those pre-market highs, which you guys know I don't really like that. But we did take a 10-cent move out of it here. Got in 140. I think we got at 131, so 9 cents. Just 300 shares on that one, so like $27. But then it actually tried to move. I didn't think it was going to get this kind of a move, obviously, since it started way down here. But we scaled into it. This time we did a 1-1-1, I think. 300, 300, 300. Yeah, it's showing the green one. Yeah, so we just did a 1-1-1 because I know it was near a halt. And at this point, I think I was down, I don't even know. I think it was like $150, maybe $200. And I was like, are you serious? It's just going to be that kind of a day. And, but thankfully we got that ad. It didn't go up into the halt. It came down and our average was at 190 and it went to 188 and then started to come back up. So I took half off at 190. So we took half off at break even and then it died pretty much right after that. And then we ended up scaling out the rest. So yeah, that's where we stand. Not a great Monday. Let's go full screen here. I can show you where that puts me overall here. So I already added the trades in. That's where it puts us on the overall scale. So it's nothing crazy. We're still on course, but these always kind of hit pretty decently, and I hate them. But hey, they're gonna happen, right? If you trade, like if I go and check out what my win percentage is, my win percentage is 85.37%. So that means 15% of the time in there, I'm taking some losses. And how big they are is kind of the key. It just so happens that this one was a decent one and it sucks. Like those are the ones that suck. But looking at my chart, knowing that that's the max I could have lost today, that 500, it makes you feel a lot better because it's really, in the grand scheme of things, not that big of a deal. Like knowing that every day that's all I can lose in the big picture, that's not that big of a deal, right? We'll just come back tomorrow, get right back at it, and yeah, that's all I got for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions or comments, or you want to scold me a little bit today, feel free down below in the comment section, or you can find me on Discord, over on Twitter, or you could watch this live. I do have I think I have all the trades there live except for the CYTO because I had rage quit at that point. And that's all I got. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.